Predator Badlands is a film that I was moderately curious about ever since I watched the trailer a billion times in the theater recently. Not that I was hyped about it by being a longtime fan like millions of others are. In fact, I only just recently saw all of the important Predator movies for the first time ever in preparation for Badlands. I did watch a little bit of Predator 1 prior to this, but I didn't make it to the end at the time because I was just too tired. But I always felt guilty about doing that ever since. With the new movie coming out, it felt like the perfect opportunity to do my due diligence and get baptized by the Predators for once. So I went all out within 2 days. Finally finishing Predator 1, trying to stay awake during 2, absolutely loving Prey, and then came my moment of becoming a true Predator. I watched Badlands on a Thursday night, and damn. Watching the entire Alien franchise last year was a crazy investment, but besides that, I really enjoyed Badlands, and it gently surprised me with how great it was. The first thing I have to point out though is that it's completely different from any other movie I watched in this series. It's not a slasher film or something that tries to be a reboot by telling the same story with a new lens. If anything, it feels like an adaptation of something you'd only see in a spin-off comic book. Star Wars, for example, most people only watch the movies or some Disney Plus shows, but dedicated fans usually would like to dive in deeper with the canon Star Wars comics, novels, or video games, and typically those kinds of media would give extra lore about side characters or villains, showing where they come from, showing where they were during a particular period, or just something completely original. With Predator Badlands in this case, it takes place far into the future with a new predator, and we actually get to explore the planet Yucha Prime, along with the Yucha clans, the planets outside besides Earth, and instead of a human character trying to kill the predator hunting them, the predator himself, who's named Deck, is the main character with his own adventure and friends. Another big change here is the fact that this predator, while still being a hunter, is a lot more like a gladiator warrior type. This guy rarely ever sneaks around in this movie. He consistently likes to get close and personal with a razor sharp object, and he's from Yucha Prime, so it's alright.
Shut up!
He later teams up with an android named Thea, who agrees to help Deck find a callous creature he's hunting for, and their chemistry together was pretty enjoyable. While it's not like they're amazing with each other when it comes to their interactions, their adventure, on the other hand, was what made them fun, because the planet they explore is cool as hell with the awesome landscapes, the creatures, the biology of this place. This setting gives all of the sci-fi goodness that we've never gotten from any other Predator movie before. It's an interesting place to explore, and the cinematography lets you know that with the beautiful shots, both on the planet we explored during the main section of the movie and Yucha Prime, which gave heavy Dune vibes. I don't want to give any plot details because I'm not trying to ruin the movie for you, but what I can tell you is that this story was probably the best of the entire franchise. It's grand, epic, emotional, and super exciting with every big climax. It gets you invested in every character and leaves you satisfied by the end, appreciating the whole adventure. Another thing I have to glaze this movie for is the action. It was top notch. I get the skepticism about the PG-13 rating, but the only reason why it's like that is because there's not much cursing in this movie compared to the older ones, and there's no humans at all, so all you see is either green alien blood or just robots getting destroyed. Even with the PG-13 rating, it still beats all the other Predator films when it comes to the actual fights. The only thing I would criticize, however, is that the action does lack actual predator hunting. Deck never gets to showcase his true hunting abilities in this movie, and neither does anyone else really. There is a stealth section in the film, but it feels like it could have came out of any other franchise. I mean, come on, it's Predator, that's your shtick. It doesn't ruin the action, because I appreciate the awesome choreography that's present, but it definitely leaves room for improvement. The biggest positive I want to give Predator Badlands credit for is for taking the franchise into completely new territory and not following the franchise equation or legacy sequel formula in general. Obviously, sometimes going off the rails isn't always a good thing. I mean, there's tons of examples proving that, but for me personally, I really enjoyed this take on Predator, and I'd much rather have this than another movie that does the same thing as every other Predator movie does with a different coat of paint. Prey already serves that purpose of being the modern take on classic Predator that adds on to the lore respectfully, but to keep this franchise going, do we really need yet another version of the same thing we've seen a billion times before for no reason other than to just be traditional? If anything, more legacy franchises should go the Badlands route, make new continuities that don't affect the classics, and instead make a new and interesting perspective with them. We already see this happen with ancient mythology nowadays. If writers were so conservative of classic tales, we would never get stuff like God of War or Percy Jackson. Wicked is basically a glorified Wizard of Oz fanfiction, and that makes billions of dollars. So if Hollywood wants to make good use of their old franchises, use Badlands as an example, not Indiana Jones and the file for bankruptcy. So overall, I give Predator Badlands an 8 out of 10. It surprised me in a lot of ways, and even if you haven't seen the Predator movies before, it's still worth watching. Just remember to see Alien Romulus when you can. I'm not going to explain any further. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.